Good afternoon and welcome. I'm Tony Sapienza, the chair of the Board of Trustees of the New Bedford Whaling Museum. Welcome to the 117th annual members meeting of the Old Dartmouth Historic Society, New Bedford Whaling Museum. First, we are hoping this finds you and your loved ones well, staying healthy and managing through this moment. It has been a strange couple of months, certainly unprecedented in the recent history of the museum. Today, we are focused on the accomplishments of the past year and our enormous efforts to continue our mission and our role in this community. This past year was a time dedicated to reflecting on who we are as a museum. After a Board of Trustees retreat last summer, we convened a strategic planning committee, a group of trustees to work in partnership with the leadership team. The entire process was guided by Laura Roberts of Roberts Consulting. The trustees have vetted and approved the resulting strategic plan. Together, we drafted an inspired path for the next few years. This museum is moving forward, and I love our direction. Fresh, bold, vibrant. Our work resulted in a refresh of our mission statement. The New Bedford Whaling Museum ignites learning through explorations of art, history, science, and culture, rooted in the stories of people, the region, and an international seaport. Designed to inspire learning and increase engagement, we are proud to move forward with an active statement of purpose. Thank you.
2019 was another outstanding year for the Whaling Museum, welcoming more than 100,000 visitors from 50 states and 36 countries. We ignited learning through explorations of art, history, science, and culture, rooted in the stories of people, the region, and an international seaport. From our Moby Dick Marathon that broke records for readers and attendance, to our celebration of a local artistic legend, we leaned into our role as a community museum and helped New Bedford shine. With the apprenticeship program celebrating a decade of triumphs, including a 100% high school graduation rate for 60 students, we applauded our 4 recent graduates and helped to launch their college careers at UMass Amherst, UMass Dartmouth, Providence College, and Bristol Community College. And last summer, so many of you helped us deepen our digital connections at our 2019 Summer Sales Gala, where you contributed more than $30,000 that evening to fund digital initiatives designed to enhance our ability to engage with students. We unveiled our extraordinary treasures in De Wind is Op, Climate, Culture, and Innovation in Dutch Maritime Painting. Our works were uniquely interpreted around the themes of wind and climate, and we hosted a robust symposium that garnered international acclaim. Our partnership with the National Park Service saw the expansion of our amazing Lighting the Way tours, and our program team and committee readied themselves for the incredible centennial marker for the 19th Amendment. We opened Cape Verdean Voices, an exhibition celebrating our unique community story. It also included a call to artists, resulting in stunning works that spoke to the Cape Verdean experience in both Cabo Verde and the United States. And we cheered in the fall when our curator of social history, Dr. Akia de Barros Gomes, went to Cape Verde to assist in designing and installing an exhibition that celebrated the opening of a new museum. And in 2019, we invested in our historic spaces, and our stunning Bourne and wood buildings received much needed exterior facelifts. Without knowing what would lie ahead, our work throughout 2019 on our strategic planning set an ambitious course for the museum. We dreamed big, prioritized our goals, and importantly, we affirmed our purpose. The Whaling Museum, your museum, stands tall in this city that lit the world. Our goals can be summed up in 4 simple words: welcome, engage, steward, and thrive. They shape who we are and what we do. While we are welcoming you a little differently right now, soon enough we will gather together And until then, let the bold blue light of the cupola remind you just how strong we are.
We're certainly in a very different environment than the one we planned for. As Amanda discussed, we're weathering this storm very well. 2019 was the 12th consecutive year which generated an operating surplus. For-profit companies would call this net income. This doesn't happen easily. It requires members who value the museum, engaged visitors, generous donors, lots of volunteer hours, and a management team that exercises fiscal prudence. Building financial strength has been a very important goal. 10 years ago, the endowment was approximately $4 million and debt was almost $3 million. Not too much financial strength. Today, we are in a much better position even after the COVID-19 market decline. The endowment is now $14 million and there's no debt. While this is very good, our goal requires a much larger endowment. During the same 10-year period, the museum completed capital projects totaling $14 million, which were all funded by generous donors and community support, no debt. Michelle Taylor, the museum's Chief Administrative Officer and Chief Financial Officer, has played a very significant role in these results. She's going to discuss the current situation.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you for your guidance and your leadership of the Finance Committee. It has been invaluable over the past decade, and especially during these unprecedented times. Thank you. It is my pleasure now to report on the museum's financial performance for 2019. I am pleased to share that the museum has once again earned the top 4-star rating from Charity Navigator for financial health, accountability, and transparency, and achieved the highest GuideStar Platinum Seal. For the 12th consecutive year, the museum has achieved a positive operating result with $4,900,000 in operating revenues, exceeding $4,916,000 in operating expenses. The result is a change in net assets from operations of $47,583. 2019 was a banner year for philanthropy. In addition to the nearly $3.3 million in general operating and support for special projects, new gifts to the endowment totaled more than $1.3 million, and $448,000 was contributed for capital projects. We are so grateful for this incredible support. Additionally, we want to recognize the museum's volunteer council, whose dedicated members contributed more than 24,000 hours of service to the museum's mission. This gift of their collective time and talent is valued at more than $786,000. It's just incredible. We have been fortunate to have a diverse revenue pie. By far, our members and individual donors provide the greatest portion of our annual operating funds at 37%. Your membership, your participation in our programs, and your support of the annual fund is absolutely vital to our success. 20% of our annual budget comes from grants and restricted support for our core programs and special projects. Endowment earnings allocated for operations accounts for 15%. 20% of our operating income comes from earned revenue categories such as admissions, retail sales, rentals, and events. In 2019, just 3% of our operating revenue came from government sources. On the right, you can see how these operating funds were put to use. Our program, which includes collections and exhibitions, education and programs, scholarship and digital initiatives, and member and visitor experience, benefited by the allocation of 74% of operating funds received. Once again, the museum demonstrated operating and fundraising efficiency at 19% and 7% respectively. Looking again at the revenue sources, it is important to know that this snapshot of revenue has and will shift dramatically in 2020. The team is working hard to make up for the significant loss of earned revenue resulting from the public health crisis. We are actively pursuing federal, state, and private funding, vigilantly monitoring expenses, and preserving our financial resources. We are so grateful to our members, donors, trustees, volunteers, and staff alike, all part of this museum team, and know that together the museum will reopen stronger and more connected to this community than ever before. Thank you for your ongoing support.
Good afternoon. My name is Edward Howland. I'm chair of the governance committee, and I want you to know what a pleasure it has been to work with the committee and Amanda this year. I would like to thank each of the committee members for their diligence and sagacity in this process. Today, we will be voting on matters critical to the museum's position moving forward. They include 2 updates to our bylaws, which are in accordance with the Strategic Planning Committee recommendations. Also, we will vote on the slate of new trustees, as well as the trustees renewing for a 2nd term, and finally for the officers. The update on our bylaws, Article 2 is the mission statement. It reads, "The New Bedford Whaling Museum ignites learning through explorations of art, history, science, and culture, rooted in the stories of people, the region, and an international seaport." The next change to the bylaws would be Article 7, regarding officers, Section 1, their composition, that we would remove the following. However, no officer shall serve hereafter in the same capacity for more than 4 successive 1-year terms. The other votes that we need today: to approve the class of 2023, the new trustees, to approve trustees nominated for a 2nd term, and to approve the 2021 slate of officers. Thank you very much for your attention, and the votes will be forthcoming.
The Whaling Museum has always benefited from the wisdom of leaders in our community, now more than ever. We have 4 trustees who are concluding service, and we are deeply grateful for their years of service to the museum. Patty Jason, Paula Cadera, Guy Shepard, and Jim Hughes. On behalf of the Board of Trustees, I want to personally thank them for their years of service and dedication to the museum.
Thank you, Tony. I want to echo your celebration of Paula, Patty, Jim, and Guy. Thank you for your dedication to the museum. Now, as you've heard today, the Whaling Museum is indeed forging ahead and navigating these troubled waters. I am deeply grateful for our team, the whole team, our incredible staff, volunteers, trustees, apprentices, members, and supporters. You are all valuable members of our team. To our great volunteers, thank you for logging an unprecedented 24,461 hours. Boy, do we miss you. And as you heard from Michelle and Joe, we are entering this crisis on sound financial footing. And that's due in large part to all of you as members, volunteers, and supporters. These last 2 months have been a daily exercise in grit and determination. And I especially want to thank my leadership team of Michelle Taylor, Christina Canet Brophy, Emily Mead, Christina Turner, and Tina Malat. I am also immensely grateful to our trustees. And a special thank you to Tony Sapienza, Joe McDonough, and George Mock, who have served as a COVID-19 response working group. They have provided me with invaluable counsel to help the museum find our strongest path. And we have found that path. To guide the museum through the storm, we have adhered to a few key principles. motivating our team, keeping them safe, employed, insured, and productive. Cutting our costs. We trimmed more than $725,000 of direct expenses from our budget. Relying on our strategic plan, it has twisted and turned right along with us and served as a priceless roadmap. Focusing on community, this moment has reaffirmed our purpose, and in the coming months, you will see us amplify historic women from the South Coast, lift up local artists, and celebrate New Bedford's unique place in the world. And finally, remaining flexible. And I don't say this lightly, but there's not one single thing that was scheduled or in motion on March 12th that remains the same today. It has been a Herculean effort, and the museum has thrived in this moment because we have adapted. And just like our cupola, we will continue to light the way. From providing gift memberships to New Bedford teachers to raising nearly $6,000 for frontline workers at local hospitals. The Whaling Museum has shown our commitment to our neighbors, and I, for one, cannot wait to see 500 Be Like a Blue Whale t-shirts around town. Importantly, we have linked arm in arm together with our peer cultural organizations in downtown New Bedford and are actively planning for the day when we will welcome visitors back to our cobblestone streets. I know that the museum will lead the way to a stronger New Bedford after the storm. You might be wondering, how can I say that so confidently? Well, frankly, I've already seen it. Our Museum from Home, launched the first week of April, has provided rich educational resources, vibrant programming, and engaging content. And we've even caught the eye of the New York Times. Our nimble pivot to a dynamic online platform has grown our impact. In April of 2019, we had a little over 3,400 visitors to the museum, which was great. But fast forward to today, and the Whaling Museum from Home has had more than 5,000 virtual visitors, and our YouTube channel has had nearly 22,000 views from all around the world. The Whaling Museum from Home is a comforting place for those who know us well, but it has proven to be an accelerator to engaging new audiences. So today, on our celebration to welcome our 117th year, let this update feed your soul. Your Whaling Museum is rooted in our community, telling our story and enduring this moment. And mark my words, when we come through this storm, we will find a Whaling Museum stronger than ever. Thank you, and be well.